विशृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ओम शांति शांति शांति। श्रुति स्मृति पुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शंकरं लोकशंकरं शंकरं शंकराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेद विभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। Oh, can hear me? The vision of the Shastra is Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma. Nehananasti Kinchana. There is nothing other than Brahman. There is no multiplicity, no duality. That means the knower, the known, and the knowing. Everything is Brahman. As they call it, a triputi. These three, knower, known, and knowledge, gnata, gneya, and gnanam. All the three are Brahman. The same thing has been revealed in previous Mundaka. Brahmaiva purastat, Brahmaiva paschat, Brahmaiva uttaratat, dakshinatat, etc. mantras. We saw that yesterday at the end of it. So, and Brahmaiva Vishwamidam Varishtam. Brahma is Idam Vishwam, Varishtam, Varaniyam, etc. Now, that means I am Brahman. But till this knowledge is owned up, we have to accept the existence of a jiva. You cannot deny the existence of a jiva until you own up this knowledge. Means, until I own up myself as Brahman, there is a jiva, there is an individual which is there. And this jiva cannot be dismissed. For the jiva, kartrutvam is real, bhoktrutvam is real. Everything is real. Karma is real. And karma phala is also real. Then the experience of punya papa for jiva is also real. The birth and the death is also real for the jiva. So, the separate entity or the separate existence of jiva apart from Brahman cannot be dismissed. Now, remember, though we cannot dismiss it, Jiva has not to become Brahman. Okay, there is no becoming. If Jivatvam is real, it cannot become Brahman. It is like if the ghostness is real, if there was a real ghost, it cannot become the post. If there was real snake, it cannot become the rope. So snakeness is not real. Similarly, Jivatvam is not real. You cannot dismiss it also, and it is not real also. Therefore, it is called Vyavarikoyam Jiva. It is a transactional reality. Its existence is only transactional. It is not becoming Brahman. If it is Brahman, it has to discover itself to be Brahman. Okay? That is the reason. Now, and that discovery is a process of growth. And the growth is very slow. In a sense, for infinite birth, the Jivatvam is established, the Ahankara is, because of lack of sharpness, subtleness, or lack of togetherness. There are doubts and there is viparita bhava. It calls for mananam and nididhyasana. Therefore, Bhagavan says in Gita also, Bahunam janmanam ante gnanavan san mam prapatyate. Anek janma samsiddhaha tato yati pramati. It takes aneka janmas, nth number of births to gain proper frame of mind. Shuddha antakaranam. Shuddha antakaranam alone is not enough. You may come across so many people whose heart is pure, but mokshecha is not there. They have mokshecha, but don't have a guru. They may have guru, but may not have shraddha. All this necessitates lots and lots and lots and lots of punya. Moreover, if the intellect is not subtle enough, is not sharp enough, not focused enough, then one cannot own up the knowledge. Therefore, the secondary means are again talked over here. Primary means for moksha is Brahmagnana, Guru Upadesha, Shastra Upadesha, Guroha Sakasha, Praptaha, Shastra Upadesha. That is a primary. But then secondary means is twofold. One is Upasana, generally referred to, as we saw in the previous section, Omkar Upasana. That is called Antaranga Sadhanam, internal secondary means. Bahiranga Sadhanam, external secondary means, is what? Life of values. And that is called Satyam, etc. And religious life also, some puja, some japa, some tapas, austerity, yatra, etc. That is internal. and some discipline in life. If that is so, then that may work, then the teaching works. If that is there, then the teaching can work. Now, so this third Mundaka is again revealing Brahman. From both Lakshanas we saw in a previous class. Swarupa Lakshana and Tatastha Lakshana. That means primary means for Brahman is revealed again and again because it is very subtle, very difficult to comprehend, and the Shastra also talks of secondary means, namely some values and some upasana. That is why the Acharya or Shruti, out of karuna, out of compassion, begins the third Mundaka. Okay? Now, in this third Mundaka itself, there is a beautiful imagery of two birds. The very first mantra presents imagery of two birds. Both are perching on the same tree. Okay? And the tree is of samsara. Samsara is called tree. Why? Because someday you can, like the tree can be cut asunder, so also samsara also can be cut asunder. Therefore, perching on the same tree can be felled. Now, and tree keeps on growing. It's a banyan tree. I am sorry, today something is there. I already tried 3 networks and I called for a 4th landline network, and they are also, it's a very weak network here. So please bear with it, okay? Some part of that. Anyway, let's go to this example, samsara vriksha. And therefore the Shruti says, Dva suparna sayuja sakhaya samanam vruksham parishasva jate tayoranyah pippalam swadu asti anashnan anyo abhichakashiti. Suparna, it's a Vedic grammar. You have to read as suparno. That means beautiful wings, golden wings, shining wings. 2 birds with a shining wing. Sayuja Sakhaya. They are friends. They are united always together. They are staying with a beautiful wings, shining wings. These 2 birds are perching on one tree. You can say the body is also a tree. They are perching. Anyaha pippalam swaduvati. What are the 2 birds? One is Jiva, another one is Ishvara. Listen, the entity of Jiva is temporarily accepted. And that Jiva, Anyaha, Swaduvati, it keeps on the phalam of the tree. Means its own karma phala. The phalas that comes to the tree in the shariram. Idam shariram kaunteya kshetramitya vidya. This body is an abode for karma phala bhoganarth, to exhaust karma phalas in this body, they say. And then anashtananyo, another one, Ishvara, avichakashiti, it is just witnessed. It doesn't eat anything. It shines in its glory like the sun shines in its glory. By mere presence of the sun, the whole world is broken. All the activities of animal kingdom, plant kingdom starts by mere presence of the sun on the horizon. Just by presence. Or presence of a sun as though energizes all solar devices. Solar water heater and solar electricity panel and solar watch or whatever it may be. That is Avichakashiti. Okay? Reality of this first bird who is eating the fruits. In other words, that ahankara. In other words, who is karta bhokta. That reality of this karta bhokta is nothing but Atma, Satchidananda Atma. But temporarily, it is accepted. One who doesn't know the problem, that is, I am not ahankara, I am not karta bhokta. Till then, it is accepted, and that ahankara, that jiva, I have told in the past again and again, the definition of jiva is karta bhokta. That jiva is accepted to teach it, to help him discover that I am not karta bhokta, I am Satchidananda. Okay? Like those 10th man lost story, that story, those 9 boys, 10 boys, the 9, one who thinks I am not the 10th. There are only 9. They are accepted, yes, you are not the 10th. Then the teacher builds up the context, makes them to stand in line, asks the leader to count 1, 2, 3, 4 and tell them. Then it built up the context and told, you are the 10th. That the 10th is lost is accepted momentarily to help that ignorant fellow, the ignorant about himself being the 10th, discover that I am the 10th. So, and this imagery is given. Please understand the tatparya of this imagery. Not understanding this, there are schools of philosophy who says there are 2 really inside. One is Bhagavan and one is Jiva. Jiva has separated from Bhagavan. And they quote, Mamaivamso Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. That Jiva has to merge into Bhagavan. And they have to go to Loka, Saket Loka and Brahma Loka. And that Bhagavan will send Vimanam, special chartered flight will come to pick up the Jiva, to merge with Bhagavan. This is no, that's not true. Jiva is Ishvara. Next one he says, that one who eats these fruits, means the Jiva, that Karta Bhokta, what is it? Samane Vrukshe Purusho Nimagnaha Anishaya Shochati Muthyamanaha Justam Yada Pashyati Atmanam Isham Asya Mahimanam Iti Vita Shokaha. Kartrutvam, Bhoktrutvam is not gross. It is subtle. You cannot see Kartrutva, Bhoktrutva. What are the expressions at emotional level of this ahankara, of this jiva? He says, this jiva, samane vrukshe. This is what? Nimagnaha. He sunk into the same tree. Where he is sunk, jiva is sunk into sthula, sukshma, karana, sharire. He is sunk, means identified. Avastha Traye, he is sunk in the three states. Panchakoshe, he is sunk in a Panchakosha, means identified. Now, then that fellow, loaded with ignorance. And ignorance and its products. You see, primary product of the ignorance is identification with Anatma, Panchakosha. But then its effect is Kartrutva Bhoktrutvam. Kartrutva Bhoktrutvam caused Ragadvesha. Ragadvesha caused emotions, anger and frustration and joy and happiness and all kinds of feelings. All that is there, it is due to various notions. Then Anishaya Shochati Mukhyamana. That fellow feels itself to be Anisha, not Isha, not the master. That is all. This is a lingam for Jiva. There is always a feeling, Swamiji, I didn't get what I deserved all this life. I deserve a better deal from others, especially from my wife. And the wife also says, I need a better deal from my husband. She also feels she didn't get what she deserves. Brahmach Shishya also feels, I deserve better deal from my Guru. Guru feels I deserve better Shishyas, all kinds of problems. And I just got what I don't deserve, what I didn't want it. There is a sense of smallness, sense of being limited, sense of being useless. That is called Anishaya. There is always a feeling, nobody understands me. Nobody appreciates me. And this is how this psychotherapist survive. This psychotherapist give a patient hearing to the fellow's psychological problems. They just validate. Yes, had I been in your place, I would have done the same thing. I too would feel the same way. When there is a validation, the pressure and the pain is justified, is released in a sense that that fellow feels here is someone who understands me. Here is someone who appreciates me. The psychotherapist doesn't understand you because he understands the fees only. So he validates all that. And when that fellow gives this kind of appreciation, this fellow develops a trust on him. And after some time, all the transference goes to therapist also. Formally, the transference was to the wife or the husband, the spouse, the partner. Now slowly, psychologist also becomes a victim. So that people victimize others, that is Jiva, for their own emotional issues. Anishaya Shochati Muhyamanaha, So that Anishatvam drives people to sometimes to Bhagavan. They go to temple and seek help. They seek somebody, some godfather, local godfather, or there is a feeling of something. Apurnatvam, in terms of knowledge, in terms of strength, in terms of understanding, in terms of emotions, in terms of physical look, everything. Mohyamanaha, the fellow is deluded. Two things. Primarily deluded about the vision of life. What is the purpose of life? There is a delusion. Purushartha aviveka. thinks that Artha and Kama is a primary Purusha, whereas Moksha is a primary Purusha. That means the priorities are not clear. And that fellow, Jushtam Yada Pashyati, Yada, because of his pursuit of yoga and upasana, when he sees clearly, what he is, that Jiva sees clearly, that because of some punya, Purva Janma punya, he sees what? Ishwaram, Anyam Isham, that I am that Anya Ishvara. Not that there is Anya Ishvara. This is where confusion. They say there are two, Jiva and Ishvara. When Jiva sees Ishvara, his moksha takes place. No. There is no seeing Ishvara. When you see Ishvara, that Ishvara is you. Or you are that Ishvara. Non-duality has to be discovered. And that discovery, Anish, Mahimanam, when it discovers, then Vita Shoko Bhavati. He becomes Vita Shokaha, free from grief, free from any kind of santanam, or santapa, any kind of grief. Now, what happens to that ahankara? What happens to the jiva? Understand this. Who is Jivan Mukta? Jivan Mukta doesn't mean there is no aham. He will not say, this Satchidananda Atma is going to Udaipur tomorrow. No, he will not talk like that. This Satchidananda Atma wants food, especially when he lands to US and this immigration fellow asks the question, hey, what's your name? Swami. This Satchidananda Atma. I am not Swami. I am Satchidananda Atma. You will be straightway sent back to Himalayas where he really belongs to. Did not go to US. See, remember that after knowledge, transactional ahankara will be there. Transactional karta bhokta will be there. But the reality, listen to the sentence, the reality of karta and bhokta is sublated. In Sanskrit they call it badita. Badita ahankara will say. Okay? Badita ahankara. As last time I had given an example, like an actor talking on a dais in a drama. The actor seems to have, actor is suppose playing a role of a king, that he seemed to have the ahankara of kinghood. He will say, Hum aa rahe hain, royal we are coming, we have arrived, where are everybody? Like that, kahan gaye sab? Hum padhar chuke hain. That is transactional. He doesn't go home. And if the door is open, he enters and says, Hum padhar chuke hain, kahan gaye sab? Doesn't shout like that. Suppose he shouts by mistake, she is in the kitchen making rotis, comes with the roller stick. Who? What did you say? Suddenly the change will take. No, nothing. I was just asking whether I have come home, but did I have to bring vegetables? Sabji lana tha kya mujhe? That is the real ahankara. On the stage, that is sublated ego. Badita ahankara. He continues, Yadha pasya pasyate rukma varnam kartaramisham purusham brahma yonim tada vidvan punya pape vidhuya niranjanah paramam samyam upaiti. Pashyati yada pasyah pasyate. Pasyah pasyati means seeker, a qualified seeker. When Shastra, the word seeing is used to reveal doubtless knowledge, errorless knowledge, the knowledge that is free from any kind of vagueness, knowledge that is free from any kind of errors. Because seeing is a knowledge which is not subject to any improvement. Suppose you see this in my hand, a page mark, the picture of a cow. It is free from any vagueness, free from any corrections. It is calf, picture of a drawing of a calf, full stop. So, seeing means when one gains that knowledge, technically we say free from samshaya and viparya. When the knowledge is gained, means adhikari sees. What does he see? First of all, himself. That jiva, that bird who was eating the various fruits of the tree, he has to see himself as Purusham Kartaram Isham Pashyati. Kartaram Isham Pashyati. Jagat Kartaram Isham Pashyati Atman. He sees himself as Jagat Karta Ishvara. Means he sees himself as non-separate from Ishvara. That Ishvara who has created this world and sustains and dissolves due to its Maya Shakti, that Ishvara Aham Asmi, then Punya Pape Vidhuya. Then he becomes free from Punya Papa, and then Niranjanaha. Niranjanaha means, Anjana means impurity. There is no impurity left in him, no blemish left in him, no guilt and hurt because of omissions and commissions. Discovers himself to be Nitya Shuddha Buddha Atma. I am that Nitya Shuddha Atma. I am the one, that is what I am. And Paramam Samyam Upaiti. Avikari Samyam. Absolute oneness. Understand? Samatvam in the Shastra, when it is used, it means oneness. Samatvam means non-duality. Samatvam means Advaitam. Not at the level of body-mind complex, not at the level of transactions. Vyavahara samatvam is not there. This samatvam is cognitive samatvam. Acha, prano hyesha sarva bhutair vibhati vijanan vidvan bhavate nativadi atma krida atmaratihi kriyavanesha brahma vidam varishtaha. Yeshaha, pranaha means Hiranyagarbha, Samashti Sukshma Sharira Abhimani. That is Yesha. He knows Atma is that. Or you can say Pranasya Pranaha. I am the prana of the pranas, because of which all activities take place. I enlighten everything. It is in my sheer presence, like the presence of the sun, all the animal kingdoms start active. Similarly, it is in my presence, I the consciousness, presence of the consciousness, all the karmendriyani work. Prana eshaha sarva bhutaihi vibhati. It shines, it reveals, it illumines all kinds of sense organs of within all the bodies. In other words, I am Sarvatma. You know, Ishvaraha is a Sarvatma. Ishvara says, Kshetragnam chapimam viddhi Sarva kshetreshu Bharata. Hey Arjuna, I am the kshetrajna in all kshetras. Sarva bhutaihi vibhati. In all shariras, I shine and I let every organ shine. And then what happens? Atma kridaha atmaratihi. Krida means sporting. For that person, whole life is sporting. Because the world is not separate from him. Objects are not separate from him. So it is a sport. Atma kridaha atmaratihi. It becomes krida when the fellow revels in himself. He is always revealing in himself. That is called Atma Kridaha Atmaratihi Eshaha Brahma Vidam Varishtaha. He is the most exalted among the Brahma Vidas. No, he being a Brahma Vida is most exalted person, most respected person, because he has become free. Therefore, Varishtaha. Now, as we said, the secondary means are also revealed here by the teacher for those who cannot own up this knowledge through primary means. By Shravana Mananadhyasana. The secondary means teacher says, Satyena labhyas tapasa yesha atma samyak gnanena brahmacharyena nityam. This Atma is gained by, self is definitely gained by what? By all nityam, always speaking truth, constant living a religious life, disciplined life, tapasa and brahmacharyena, and mastery over sense organs. And then he says, samyak gnanena, then that is clear knowledge of the self. Who can gain it? Those who are of right effort, Brahmacharyena nityam kshina doshaha. They are free from any doshas, means pure antakaranam. And they are putting in right efforts, free from impurities. They see that self, which is jyotirmayaha shubhraha, which is ever pure, which is the light of all the lights, means which is self-effulgent, and they see the self within the body, means within the buddhi, meaning thereby while they are alive. Okay? You don't have to discover Atma after death. Even while you are alive, you discover the self. That is you. This is the goal of life. Most deluded fellows have different priorities and they go after another priorities. And therefore, they are confused. Here, Satyam is not Param Satyam. Satyam is a Vyavaharika Satyam. And Satyam is indicative of all values, all common sense values, all ethical values, religious values, cultural values. So, one who is committed to these values, he gains it. And Brahmacharyena tapasa. So, the tapas indicates a religious life. When you live a religious life, in English, this is a God-fearing life. That means this is not the exact meaning what they say, but tapas stands here for all religious discipline. And ethical life alone is not enough. However, a religious life is equally important. Therefore, some people you come across, they say, I am very ethical. I don't need to do any puja. I don't need to go to temple. I don't need to do any japa. They think religious, ethical life is enough and one should not live a religious life. And justifying that I should not live that life, they give example. such and such a person is living religious life, but I see them non-ethical. And therefore, just by merely becoming ethical is not enough. One has to be religious also. Okay? So therefore, they say, just by becoming religious is not enough. One has to be ethical also. No, both are necessary. And brahmacharya means certain discipline, certain vairagya. And now the word brahmacharya is to be translated here as a lifestyle. Okay? Means what is lifestyle? Living a life of brahmacharya ashram. What is brahmacharya ashrama? That is called living with guru, in proximity of a guru. Means a committed lifestyle. Then he says, then all that will contribute to what? This will contribute to the Atma is under discussion. And therefore, by just Atma means I, the self, which is self-existing, self-revealing self. It is not to be gained by this. Ultimately, samyak jnanena. All these are secondary means to qualify or to own up the knowledge that is me. And then he continues further, glorifying the need for ethical life or emphasizing the need for ethical life. Teacher says, Satyameva jayate nandrutam satyena pantha vitato devayana. Satyam eva jayate. Satyam doesn't win or doesn't lose. Okay? Satyam here means satyavadi jayate. The one who speaks truth alone wins. Satyam eva. Satyavadi eva. One who speaks truth alone wins. Okay? Not the one who is untruthful. Na anrutam. Na anrutavadi. Satyam eva jayate means satyavadi eva jayate. And na anrutam means na anrutavadi jayate. Speaker. One who speaks untruth doesn't win. Devayana. The path to reach heaven. When the celestial paths are opened, are widened, the gates of the celestial lokas are opened for this fellow who speaks, who lives a life of truthfulness. And then he says, Mittada yena akramanti rishayo yapta kamaha yatra tat satyasya param nidhanam. By this path, one would know, those who have fulfilled aptakamaha, desire, fulfill all kinds of desire, they go and claim their Brahmaloka, where the great treasure of the truth is present. Means where the Brahmaloka, you gain the knowledge of the Atma, the Satyam. Here again, Satyam is used in a secondary sense, Vyavaharika Satyam. I had told last time, people say often, Swamiji, you don't gain anything by living an ethical life. You don't get anything by speaking truth. And we see, especially in Indian movies, the untruthful gets away. And the truthful is sometimes punished. That is, and then how do you say truth wins? No. It is often noted that truth, it is not enough that you speak truth. It should be seen as speaking truth also. Like the famous statement of the justice, it is not enough that the justice is done, that it should be seen that the justice is done. So, for seeing justice to be done is done, the judge gives a judgment of 100 plus pages, 200 pages, 3000 pages, depending upon the case. Actual judgment is hardly 1 page. All the previous pages are meant for seeing it that justice is done. The truthful people don't bother for proving themselves. In not to proving themselves, but then They don't make sure that others see that I live on the path of truth. Untruthful fellow is always manipulative and makes a narrative, makes an atmosphere that others feel that he is truthful. Therefore, that fellow wins, apparently. But it is not so. Okay? So, and ultimately, when you speak untruth, na anrutam, the untruth fellow speaking untruth never wins. We have seen this earlier. When you speak untruth, you create a split within. You create a conflict within. And then it is the worst calamity for human being is that I can't do what I want to. Because you deliberately created a split. I know what should I do, but I didn't do what should I be doing. I know what I shouldn't do, but I did what I shouldn't have. You are creating a split between knower and doer. That split, though in the beginning deliberate, later on becomes natural and you become helpless to yourself. I know, but that but is a defeat. Therefore, they say, Mano Jaya Eva Vijaya. Victory over the mind is the Jaya. And this Satya gets you a lot of punya by which you can go to the celestial lokas. And that is broad path for you. That means you are welcome there. Yena apta kama rushya. By which path? These rishis, tapasvis, vidvamsa, bhakta, great bhaktas, they went to that. They went to that place which is abode of Satyam. They hear the Satyam word is for absolute Satyam. Abode of Satyam. Satyam is everywhere. There is no abode of Satyam. But they go to those loka where Upadesha of Satyam Gnanam Anantam is available, means Guru is available, Shrotriya Brahmanishta Guru. In Brahma Loka, Brahmaji is a Guru who teaches Shastras, the Upadesha. And therefore it is called abode of Satya. So it is your choice to go to Brahma Loka or this class or Swami is abode of Brahman, available to teach, unfolding the Shastra in a traditional way. So better be here. Don't plan going to anywhere else. Okay? Then continues in the 7th mantra, he says, what is Brahman? Bruhatcha tat achintyam arupam sukshmacha tat sukshmataram vibhati durat sudure tadihanti kecha pashyatsu heva nihitam guhaya. Achintya rupam, you cannot think, means it is not an object of thought. There is no jati, there is no guna, there is no kriya. And then bruhatcha, it is, that is bruhat, it's big. Big means bigger than big. Whatever you call big is transactional big. This is the adhishtanam of that. Sukshmacha sukshmam. Satalam tat vibhati. It shines in the various forms, in various bodies, in various entities, various objects, and it is farther than the farthest. As long as ignorance is there, Bahirmukta is there, you look for the 10th man outside you, so long it is far away. Okay? It is Suduram. And unless you see Vedanta as Pramana, it is Durat Sudure. Unless you have Jignasa, it is Durat Sudure. Unless you have Shraddha, it is Durat Sudure. Unless you have necessary Shuddha Antakaranam, it is Durat Sudure. Actually, it is what? Ihaiva Nihitam Guhaya. It is not far away. It is right here in this body, in Buddhi Guha. in your antakaranam manifesting every moment, aham, aham, iti, sambit vibhati, that sambit is you. Na chakshusha grhyate na pivacha, na anyer devais tapasa karmanava, gnana prasadena vishuddha sattva, tatastutam pashyate nishkalam dhyayama. The chakshusha means not pratyaksha pramana, and all other pramanas, anumana, arthapatti, upapatti, anupalabdhi, are pratyaksha upajivina. They are based on pratyaksha. So none of these five means of knowledge can reveal Atma. Navacha, nor the words can reveal. Napi karmana, nor karma can produce. Utpadya, apya, etc. Vikarya, samskarya is not there. But then tapasa, neither by tapas nor by karma. How do you say? Vishuddha sattva gnana prasad. The one who has necessary Shuddha mind means, and pure antakaranam is a primary means, and secondary means is shastric study. The Vishuddha sattva, ethical life, religious life, having some vairagya, gnana prasadena, gnanam eva prasada. He partakes the prasada, which is called gnana. Is it like Tirupati Laddu that you get it? No. It is Guroho Krupaya. When given by a competent Guru, that knowledge revealed by Guru. Gnana prasada means knowledge revealed by Guru. Vishuddha sattva means by life of karma, yoga and tapas, one overcomes the spell of raga dvesha, and then he goes to a teacher and studies Shastra. The teaching itself is prasada. Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanirasyopajayate prasanna chetaso hyashu buddhif parivadishtati. That jnanam is prasadam, blessings of a guru. By that he sees Atma. Esha anuratma chetasa veditavyaha yasmin pranah panchada samvivesha pranish chittam sarvamotam prajaram yasmin visuddhe vibhavatyesha. See this contradiction. Here he says, Esha Atma Chetasa Veditavyaha. This is to be known through Chittas, Buddhi. And in the seventh mantra he says, Bruhacha Tat Achintyam. It cannot be known. Na Chakshusha Na Vacha. It cannot be known through sense organs, which includes mind. And now it says it has to be known by the mind. There are both types of vakyas you see in Shastras. Okay? Self is to be known through mind, and self is beyond mind. It cannot be known. Na manasa, na vachasa, na karmana. What does it mean when it says it cannot be known by mind? It means it cannot be object of the thought. Okay? It doesn't mean that the mind is not necessary. Okay? Because mind is the only instrument for knowledge, pramanam, and thereby the vritti gnanam has to take place. One has to expose one's mind to pramanam. That is called pramana vyapara. Shastra and Guru is a pramanam. Mind needs to be employed in it. And then you get the knowledge. It is not an object of knowledge. It is a very subject. In other words, what they say, the consciousness is recognized through this particular vritti. What is recognition about consciousness? Not that I am Satchidananda Atma, that alone is not so. That recognition is drashta, drashya, darshanam, is consciousness. I am consciousness. The known thing is consciousness, and knowing is also consciousness. that vritti, which is free from division of lower known knowledge, it is called akhandakara vritti. It is called brahmakara vritti. And that vritti removes ajnana. And it itself goes away. There is no vritti that objectifies consciousness. That particular vritti resolves into consciousness in the discovery that there is nothing else than the consciousness. It is Svata Siddham. It shines in its glory. And the teacher concludes showing the glory of the knowledge. What is this? Yam yam lokam manasa vibhati samvibhati vishuddha sattva kamayate yansya lokan tam tam lokam jayate tamsya kaman tasmad atmagnam hyarchayet bhutika. This vishuddha sattva, the person who has pure mind and who knows the self, yam yam lokam manasa samvibhati, whatever lokas he thinks through mind, and kamayate yamsya kaman, whatever kamas are the pleasures he thinks, he gains it. Tam tam lokan jayate, he is born there, he gains all the pleasures, all the lokas. What does it mean? It doesn't mean that the wise person will desire for heaven, and by mere desire he will go to heaven. And having gone to heaven, he will have eternal dinner with the God. No. He will have hurrays. Not that he gets hurrays. First of all, there is no kama. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmanne atmana tushtasthita pragnastadochate. It is with reference to the Vedic person who were doing all Vedic karmas to gain happiness here and hereafter. To them, he gives a sin. Okay? He gains all means what? Doesn't go to heaven, but he knows I am the Atma who is the substratum of all the lokas, who is the substratum of all the pleasures available in the loka. And then, what does it happen? Then he says, therefore, Atmagnam Hyarche Bodhikama. A person who is desirous of pleasures, some object, some worldly thing, should worship, should serve, should please this wise person. This statement of Upanishad is not known, but this meaning is translated in Indian culture. Indian culture, they will do seva, serve the sadhu. They don't go to verify is a real sadhu or fake sadhu. They don't even bother which sampradaya he or she belongs. I see, nowadays I see some news items. These Jaina sadhus went to some place and where there was no Jaina to give Bhiksha. Hindus gave them very respectfully the Bhiksha that they wanted in the way they wanted. So also Bauddha sadhus. There is a value to serve sadhus. There is a value to seek the grace of a sadhu because he is a Vishuddha Sattva and he is a wise person. So his punya, when they do that, this punya will come to them and therefore they worship him because he is devoid of ahankara. There is no individuality in him. There is his sankalpas or Ishvara sankalpa is a personification of the grace of Ishvara. Therefore, we worship. This concludes the first chapter of third Mundaka, the first part. Second part we'll take up in the next week. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Namaste.